The only true life lesson, the only life lesson worth learning, the only real true life lesson that there is. That is what we're going to talk about today. But first, please send your validation my way so that I can inhale it into my nostrils and down to the depths of my soul. Send said validation by subscribing to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so that you can get brand new videos when they come out. Hit the like button after the video has concluded. All other platforms, watch the video, like the video, share with your friends, tell everyone you know. You only get one life. You only get one life. And the funny thing about that advice is that it's not really enough. You know, all self-improvement advice is not really enough. It's really hard to get it to sink in at all. You only get one life. How many times have we heard this? You have one life. YOLO. Go out there and do the experiences you want to do. Travel, see the world, write your book, start your business, do the thing. Why does it seem that something so obvious and apparent and self-evident doesn't seem to be enough to get us to do the things we are really wanting to do with our life? Almost no one lives their life as if each day could be their last. We all live like we're going to be here forever. So how do you have that push? And for me, the way I get the push is pretty much a continual reminder. I try to use the idea of having one life as a decision-making framework. I recently went to Los Angeles, something I had been meaning to do for a long time. I had been planning on going and traveling and going to do all these different seminars and workshops and meeting new people and going places by myself and having new experiences. This year I decided that I'm going to do it. I made a conscious decision because I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter how much money I spend. I can't take any of that money to the grave with me. It doesn't matter, if I feel nervous or trepidation about doing certain things. I'm going to die. Why would there be any other answer than go get it, young man? Go out there and go do things. So I try to use that decision-making framework as often as possible. I keep doubling down. I'm working and building and trying to, take some of my money and save it, but I'm taking a lot of it and I'm just spending it right back. I'm spending it on brand new camera equipment. I'm spending it so that I can travel and learn new things. I'm spending it so that I can go to new locations. And throughout the year, you're going to be seeing me shoot videos on set, on location, all across the globe. I'm doing all of these things because I'm like, you know what? What if I die? What if I'm have all this money in my bank account, which, yes, you want to be prudent. You want to have savings. I don't put myself in any kind of crazy risk like that. But after I saved up a couple of months of living expenses, I'm like, you know what? I'm just burning the bridges. I'm doing whatever it takes to get the most, best experience possible that there is. Not just for me, but for the content that I put out. Because who knows? I'm putting out content like a madman. One, because I love creating content. But two, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I think about my kid. I have a 4-year-old daughter. I think about, what if I were to be gone today? And what if all of her memories were at this time where, she can't even really form long-term memories, right? How would she know her dad? She could watch my YouTube channel. Even if I were gone today, she could watch my YouTube channel. She could read my books. She could get to know her father through the legacy of the things that I'm doing while I'm here on this earth. It's my hope that one day my grandkids, my great-grandkids, and, hopefully the internet will keep the content alive for a long time so that future generations can see and things will be stored digitally and passed on, and I'm leaving my legacy. So I'm working as if I'm running out of time, right? It's a lot of people want to reach a certain level of success of income so that they could stop working. Like, what? No, why? I'm working harder than I ever have in my life because I realize that, at least for me, I don't want leisure. I don't want to sit on the beach running the clock out on my life waiting to die, right? People, they just don't live life. They're not really here. They're not really doing anything. They're very active, but they're not productive. And I just think that maybe people just get so caught up in the minutia of life that it's hard to zoom out. Like, if you're going to work every day and your day is more or less the same and it blends together, you can't see that time going away. You can't see that you've just wasted another week. You can't see that you've wasted another month. You can't see that you've wasted another year. But then sometimes people do have those realizations. I've talked about this many times before. People have a midlife crisis. So what do people do when they have a midlife crisis? They start to realize, oh, I'm getting up there. Their mortality is very real to them. But what do they usually do? Do they go and start their business finally? Or do they really go out there and start having these experiences? No, they usually get divorced and buy a Corvette. That's it. Most people, that's what happens. The men, they get divorced, buy a Corvette. Woman, I don't know, Stella gets her groove back. Some BS like that, right? So even a midlife crisis isn't enough to shock people fully awake from their stupor. And the reason why I come across as kind of harsh and abrasive sometimes, the reason why some of my messages almost seem kind of cruel in the level of truth I'm trying to give, is because I'm trying to shock you the F awake. I'm trying to get you to focus on how dire your situation is. Oh, I don't have enough money to start my business. So what? You're gonna die. Oh, I don't have enough resources to get it off the ground. So what? You're gonna die. Oh, I'm too short. I'm too fat. I'm the wrong color. I'm the wrong gender. I'm the wrong sex, orientation, religion. Who cares? You're going to die. Or are you going to wait for your situation to be perfect before you start to do something with your life? I promise you that if you do that, you will die before that situation becomes perfect. Right? So I was out in Los Angeles. When Kobe Bryant died. And, I had even a higher level of realization of my own mortality after that. I'd always been someone who used the idea of mortality as motivation. But after that, it kind of hit me in a profound way. And what some people were talking about was the fact that, when somebody like that, somebody larger than life, when they pass away, especially when they pass away too soon, it reminds you of your mortality, because people like that aren't supposed to die. So if it can happen to him, it can happen to you. And so while many people die every day, something like that really sticks. But we're already a couple of days removed from that happening, and I'm pretty sure people have already settled back into their groove. I'm sure, like me, you reached out to family and friends and you talked to people that day, or you really started to contemplate your life, or maybe the day after you kind of woke up with a different attitude and maybe you really tackled that day. But now we're already 3-4 days removed, and I'm sure people are settling back into their grooves. The memory still lives on. People are still sad and upset, and they will be for a while. But in terms of our behavior, it's crazy how quickly we revert back to our normal activities. Like, we get that shock of mortality for one day. It really hits, then it lasts for another day, and then all of a sudden it fades away and you go back to living your life. I've talked about this in a couple of my books, actually. What happens to people where they really change their life? Like, somebody gets cancer. You get cancer and you find out you only have 6 months left to live. Then you start all of a sudden you don't care about saving your money. All of a sudden you don't care about being pragmatic and realistic. Don't care about that anymore, right? Now you want to go see the world and get all the experiences out of your belt before you die. And then some of these people survive and they're like, oh, okay, I did survive. I have a new outlook on life. I'm not going to die anymore. And then they go on and they have much more of appreciation. So like, why does it have to take a near-death experience for us to reframe that in our mind? Why do we have to come that close with death in order to get that full understanding without trying to like conjure it up ourselves consciously? It's because we all think we're going to live forever. Everybody thinks they're going to live forever. Everyone thinks they're going to live until they're 80 and die peacefully in their bed, even though that's not true. Even though we drive down the highway and we see people in car accidents who you can tell by the shape of the car that that person is dead. People all around you die. Babies die. Teenagers die. Innocent people die. Good people die. People with a lot left to do in their life die. And so for me, every day my goal is to live a life where I'm adding pieces to it to where if I died, I'd be okay with that. It would be like, okay, I got enough done. So like take someone like Kobe. He had plenty of other projects going on, but in 41 years, he did more than the average human being will ever do times 10 million. And you don't need to be a professional basketball player to do that. You could take that same Mamba mentality and put it into what you're doing. Think about somebody like him. He didn't waste a second. There's countless stories of how like relentlessly and like sociopathically driven this guy was, to where he would put up 1,000 shots before practice, 1,000 shots after practice. He would always be there before you. He'd be doing drills without the ball in his hand. Everything was driven towards excellence. And not that that's the only thing that's important in life, but you know, do you have that sort of mentality in any area of your life? So yes, life is not just about excellence. It's not just about accomplishments and achievements, but do you take that same kind of attitude? Do you take that Mamba mentality to your relationships? Or are you just letting your relationships kind of happen? Are you taking that mentality to your spiritual growth? Are you spending time cultivating feelings of happiness, meditating, journaling, working on your emotions? Are you actually a student of life, or are you just alive? Are you just living? See, me, I don't consider myself a guru. I consider myself a student of life. And I only feel comfortable sharing insights with other people because I spent so much time trying to figure out how to live a good life. So like any video I put out, any book I come out with, any blog post, yes, I do give advice. I do make educated guesses as to how well a certain strategy might work, but I never make promises or guarantees because I myself am a student. When I'm telling you things, I'm saying this may or may not work. It probably will work because I've tried it and I've analyzed other people doing it and there's a pattern showing that it works, but I don't guarantee things. I'm a student. And I look at life as the opportunity to learn as much as you can about how to live without ever really even getting close to what you possibly could have learned, right? So for me, I look at people and I'm curious as to how they're not like fascinated and excited to get up and do amazing things every day. Why they're not driven by the idea that they don't have that much time left on the planet. Why aren't they learning? Why aren't they experimenting? Why aren't they growing? Why aren't they traveling, doing all these things? But then I think back to the way that I was living prior to this. See, it's very easy to get on your high horse when you start talking about self-improvement, when you learn about self-improvement, when you implement self-improvement. It's like you forget that at one point you did not practice self-improvement. It's like, having done this for so long, I don't remember being lazy. I remember it, but I don't fully identify with the way that I used to be. Very lazy, going out and drinking and partying every weekend, living like I was going to live forever, wasting time, doing all these sorts of things. So I try to remember to like meet people where they're at and not to judge them. It's like the point of this isn't to judge you for not living your best life. Like that's not what it's about. It's just about reminding you that, okay, you have a past. Certain things, you can't change what has happened. You probably, odds are, you have not been living up to your potential up until now. But now, it's go time. And I know that me telling you it's go time right now still isn't going to be enough. I know that this isolated video is not going to be enough. That's why I keep putting out videos. I could, basically everything that I could tell you about self-improvement, I could just put it in one video. It might be like 2 hours long, but I could just say, here's my entire philosophy. Like this book, this is a 65,000 word book. I could have probably told you everything you needed to know, like in a couple of tweets. But you need the repetition. You need the reminder. You need the layers of understanding. You need examples. You need to be attacked mentally from all different angles to understand how dire the situation is. So that's why I put content out. That's why I appreciate the people who put out content before me. All of these lessons are the same. All of the lessons of self-improvement are the same. You already know them. And you've heard them a million times before. So why watch videos like this? For that reminder, for that layer of understanding to where you eventually make the decision to change. And that's all it is. It's all it is. It's just a decision. You're like, you know what? Finally gonna do it. Finally gonna get in shape. Finally gonna start the YouTube channel. Finally gonna write the book. Finally gonna start the business. Finally gonna see the world. And the best thing about it is once you hit that point of like finally, then the past does not count. It doesn't matter. I wasted a decade of my life, a half decade of my life being a screw up. Can't get that time back. But it also doesn't matter. Now that I've gotten on this path, it's like that other part just never happened. So you can take the reins of your life now, and you don't have to beat yourself up about not doing it in the past. If you have enough time on this earth where you're doing things that matter to you, it counts more than everything else. It's like even if you're 50 years old and, from your productive years of like 20 to 50, you didn't live the life you wanted. If you had an amazing 50 to 60, you could look back and be like, you know what? Overall, this is a freaking win, right? If you're 40, you've wasted a couple decades, 40 to 60, ride it out. So it's basically like whatever time you have left until you're like too old to really put in that work, that's however long you have left. Colonel Sanders. Everybody uses Colonel Sanders, which I don't advise you to wait until your 60s to start your business. It's going to be much harder. Like, let's not kid ourselves. But hey, Colonel Sanders, he got to go out winning. Even though he had spent all that time failing at other businesses and like not getting it done, like you can go out winning. So that's what I'm trying to do with life. I'm trying to go out winning. I'm running up the scoreboard. I'm running up the MF check. I'm running it up. Got 3 books out. I'm going to put 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 53 books. I got 90 YouTube videos out. Lord willing, universe willing, creator willing. If I have enough time, I will have the videos because I'm going to shoot a video on an almost daily basis because I only get one life. I want to take the energy like this is the last video I'm ever going to shoot. I could walk out that door and get hit by a bus tomorrow. So I'm like, got to get everybody motivated because I might be gone tomorrow. Hopefully I won't. But I want to put that energy of only having one life into everything I do and try to energy beam that across to you so that you understand it, that you implement it. There can come a time where you implement it. The thing I love most about self-improvement is that you can spend so much time not doing the right things and then sometimes you just come around. Sometimes something I says just hits you at a certain angle, makes you feel a certain way. I've listened to so many different self-improvement teachers. Some of them just got into my ear, like Jim Rohn. He was somebody who really got into my ear and he really made me understand. So the messages are all the same, but depending on like how you hear it, who you hear it from, and how it hits you, you can make that decision to live out the rest of your life and be successful as you possibly can. Okay, Real Help. That is the name of the new book. Go and grab your copy of Real Help because It'll help you understand the shortness of life so that you can go out there and do your thing. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell to get new videos like this video. Comment below because engagement metrics are important. More books, You 2.0, grab that book. I have another book. All the books are in the description. Go and check those out. Any other platforms, please shout to the rooftops. I love doing these videos, and I would encourage you to share because it allows me to have more growth so that I can keep adding this energy each time I interact with you. I will see you on the next video.